Hey there, I'm Brendan Petersen, the founder of DARKSLIDE Pictures and the director of Paper Wasps. Welcome to number 8 in the Appalling Productions Mondays series. In this one, we're going to just go back to kind of spreading the word on some weird films that maybe you haven't seen before, and that's why this one's called 10 More Weird Films. So let's just jump right in. Survive Style 5 is a 2004 Japanese film directed by Sekiguchi. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, I'm not the best with Japanese names, but it was produced by the same studio who did the wacky and insane film Funky Forest First Contact, a year after this one. The story intertwines 5 stories at once, with no apparent connection to one another, which all eventually connect. This results in some very surreal and bizarre scenes which complement the candy-colored hyper-reality that the film is set in, and the larger-than-life characters that inhabit it, such as a hitman who asks everyone, "What is your function in life?" Tideland is a 2005 film by Terry Gilliam. Jodelle Fairland plays Jeliza Rose, a young girl who the story is told from. Jeff Bridges also plays her father, but actually ends up playing a corpse most of the time. With that said, this film is a bit of an oddity, even among Gilliam's work. It's like a kid's film that a kid probably shouldn't ever watch, because it goes to some very dark places, yet it's told through the eyes of a child who sees all these dark things as playful and innocent. The choice to have a young girl as a protagonist in such a dark film is something that I think is unique. And if you're a fan of Gilliam's work or you want to see a dark film told through a child's perspective, I say check it out. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai is a 1984 film by W.D. Richter which stars Peter Weller as the titular hero, Buckaroo Banzai. Adventurer, brain surgeon, rock musician, Buckaroo Banzai and the Hong Kong Cavaliers must stop evil alien invaders from the 8th dimension who are planning to conquer Earth. This film also features a standout performance by John Lithgow as the evil Lord John Warfin. This film has a lot of fun quirkiness to it in an age of superhero movies trying to stand out from each other. This one really stands out from the rest, and it did it quite a while ago. Although it comes across as a bit more of a satire, its deadpan seriousness in the performances and richness to the backstory of the characters shown throughout the film make it a unique experience in the genre. Rubber's Lover is a 1996 Japanese cyberpunk film by Shozin Fukui. Excuse me again for probably butchering that name, but scientists use a brain-altering drug to conduct experiments. After one such project goes astray, they need to find another test subject. Drawing from the gritty black and white cyberpunk style of films like Tetsuo the Iron Man, this film is a unique take on the genre which throws in a lot of themes about exploring the psyche in extreme ways. The style is very over the top and more of a splatterpunk kind of film, but it works well within the manic world that the film creates. It takes us into the extreme mind-bending experiments being done to the characters. Dogstar Man is an experimental film from 1964 by Stan Brakhage. A man and his dog ascend a wooded mountain. This film stands out from the rest on this list because it's entirely non-narrative, and also, unlike the other films, it is completely devoid of sound. Brakhage had a very experimental style which many might find difficult to digest when viewing, but which helped to shape the language of experimental film by showcasing a cosmic approach to splicing images and juxtaposition, which creates its own new vernacular within experimental film. It's a hard film to describe, but it's an important one, and something you should check out if you're into weird films. The Sea That Thinks is a 2000 film by Gert de Graaff that uses a series of incredible optical illusions to tell its story. The film also questions the concept of I and oneself, and what it means to live in the now versus the past or the future. The film is chock full of twists and turns, and is honestly very hard to describe, so I'll leave this one short. But when you see it, it speaks for itself. Just check out the trailer or find yourself a copy and dive in. Valerie and Her Week of Wonders is a 1970 film by Jaromil Jires, which is inspired by fairy tales such as Alice in Wonderland and Little Red Riding Hood. It's a surreal tale of love, fear, and sex told through a young woman who is coming of age. The imagery in the film is incredibly lush, yet dark and gothic all at the same time. It has a very dreamlike quality and uses the colors and music within to create a rich fantasy-like world for the viewer to experience. Some of the imagery is sure to stick with you long after giving it a view. Check it out. Berberian Sound Studio is a 2012 film by Peter Strickland which tells the surreal story of a British sound designer who is asked to work on an Italian film. This film does what great surrealism does, which is to take something that would otherwise seem mundane and shine it in some new light that shows just how dreamlike and nightmarish and odd that thing can be under the right context. A film named after a kind of sound studio better have good sound, and this film does not disappoint. The sound design is incredible and elevates the film to the next level. Toby Jones plays the titular character and pulls it off amazingly. This film leaves you with many questions but pulls you in and ultimately leaves you saying, I didn't know I'd be watching this sort of film. The Holy Mountain is a 1973 film by Alejandro Jodorowsky about a journey to the Holy Mountain made by an alchemist, a Christ-like figure, and 7 materialistic figures. Once again, this film is very hard to describe and is one of those films that you really need to see for yourself. It's the kind of film where a person is shot, birds fly out of the wounds instead of blood. The visuals are astounding, and if you're into weird films at all, this is one you have to check out. Thanks to the commenter on the first Appalling Productions Mondays episode, Top 10 Weird Films, for reminding me about this film. And all of Jodorowsky's work is definitely weird, but I thought I'd put this one here on this list. Okay, moving on. A Field in England is a 2013 film by Ben Wheatley about a group of deserters of the Civil War in the 17th century of England. They are captured by an alchemist and forced to help him search to find treasure buried in the field. The film features striking black and white photography and hypnotic visuals that are psychedelic in nature. The characters eat what appears to be some sort of mushroom during the course of the film, which adds context to these hallucinations. At a certain point, reality and hallucination start to blur, and the film becomes a wild trip similar to having taken drugs yourself. It's a very original film that shows a new spin on the period piece, and it's definitely worth your time checking out if you're into weird films. Hey, thanks for watching Appalling Productions Mondays number 8, 10 more weird films. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you want more stuff about weird or experimental film or dark stuff in nature, because we are DARKSLIDE Pictures after all, so yeah. That's basically it. Stay tuned for next week, and maybe something else will happen. I don't know, something crazy. Something out of this world. I don't know. Don't ask me. I just make the videos. You watch them on the YouTube place. Kitty. Oh, Hanky.